Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Hurt. And first of all, I want to thank you so much, Mr. Hurt, for coming in, working with our staff, getting us to where we need, helping us set goals.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Powell. Thank you, thank you. First, once again, I would like to thank everyone for coming out. You know, it is dedication to come out on a Saturday. Why on a Saturday? Just to learn. And then you're probably looking at me like, is he going to be good? He's going to be boring. What is he going to be like? Okay. So let me just give you a little bit of history about myself and some of the things that I've done in education. Is that I've been in education for, say, it's going on 18 years. I started at the elementary level as a second grade teacher. And then from there, I've been a principal for the last 11 years, okay? I've been at 4 different schools. So let me tell you a little bit about my principalship, is that I started as a K through 8th grade principal at a school in Southfield called Lathrop Village, okay? And then the first year that I was the principal of this particular school, the superintendent at the end of the year came to me and said, wow, Mr. Hurt, you did a really good job. And I said, oh, really? He said, yeah, because you're the first principal in the last 6 years that didn't quit in the middle of the school year. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe he just wants me to come back. Okay, and then from there, he said, you know, I really like the work that you're doing. All of your kids are inner city kids, and you're really doing some good stuff. So then after that, I went to another school because at the time I just got married. So I was traveling about an hour and 20 minutes to work. So, you know, my father always told me, happy wife, happy life. So then, after about the 3rd year of marriage, my wife was pregnant with our first child. And then I said, okay, I want to be able to at least get home at a decent time while it's still light outside to be able to support the family. So then I got a principalship about 20 minutes from my school, from where I was at in Inkster, okay? So then from there, there was another K through 8th grade school, and we did a good job. The time we were doing Scantron, we moved to academic needle. So then after that, the governor had this thing. Is anybody familiar with Muskegon Heights? Muskegon Heights, okay. Well, at the time, about 7 years ago, Muskegon Heights, they were going to close the district because of low academic achievement and poor financial planning. So then they were going to actually close the district, but they said, hold on, we're going to save it 1 more year. We're going to see if we can kind of turn it around, okay? So then from there, the governor went and hired this really good superintendent. So then the superintendent, when I was in Detroit, she was always would come to my school because she heard about the work I was doing. So she called me and she said, would you like to move from, at the time I'm living in Ypsilanti, to Muskegon, which is about 2 hours? And then I said no, because I love the school I'm at, I'm doing good. But then it's funny, you know, my wife is always part of some of the things I do. So I came home from work, and my wife said, hey, did you get a phone call from this lady named such and such? And then I'm like, how do you know? You usually don't ask me about work, or, you know, that's something that you wouldn't have known. She said, yeah, me and the superintendent in Muskegon Heights are really good friends. I want to go down there this Saturday and visit it. I said, why? Because I said, no, I want to stay home and watch the basketball game. I want to watch UofL versus Michigan State. Why do I want to go down there and stuff? So we went down there, and then she convinced me, the superintendent and my wife, they got together, and they kind of put a blitz on. They said, oh, you will take this job. So then, to make a long story short, my first year at this particular school in Muskegon Heights, it was 2nd through 6th grade school. We went from the lowest, at the time they was doing the M-STEP, the lowest M-STEP scores to the highest growth in the county, okay? After that, the 2nd year, we still had really good scores, so the governor said, Mr. Hurt, we haven't ever seen a person who's able to transform inner city schools. These same African-American kids that we saw last year, when the school was horrible, now they're moving in the right direction, you got the same teachers, what are you doing? I said, well, I really don't know. I'm just being who I am. So I started to write and capture what I was doing. And then from there, the superintendent said, you got to train other principals within the district because you're moving the academic needle so good. After that, I went from training the principals in my district to some of my friends, okay? After 3 years, the school was moving in the right direction. I left, I went back to the metropolitan area of Detroit, okay? So then I took another principal. This is my last principal position. I tell you. So I took a principal position of a school in Inkster, another school in Inkster called Inkster Prep, as a K through 5th grade school. So the first year we took the MAP test because it's the first time I've ever seen the MAP test. So then, for whatever reasons, in the beginning of the year, our kids took the test like you guys did, and a lot of the kids were at the first or second, third percentile. And then at the end of the year, we had kids or grade levels at the first or second percentile to the 85th and 90th percentile. So the MAP people from from Portland, Oregon called me and said, Mr. Hurt, we've never seen inner city kids grow like this ever in our life. What are you doing? How are you able to get the kids to take the MAP and just grow like this? My first year. Second year, the same thing. And then from there, what I was noticing, I said, man, if you can really take the MAP and drive the instructor inside the classroom and link it to the M step, then everything will move. You see it? So then after that, schools all over the world has been calling me because Michigan not the only state that take the MAP, is all over the world. So I've been doing, for the last 2 years, I've been training teachers just like you guys all over the world how to use the MAP, how to use good instructions to drive instructors inside the classroom. And then since I'm from Michigan, I know the M step like the back of my hand and how it links together. In addition to that, how does it look inside of the classroom where you can set up your groups, your centers, vocabulary, so the whole 9 yards. So then I've been talking about it last week, no, not last week, 3 days ago, I just got back from South Carolina, so I did a training with the whole district. Last couple of weeks ago, I was in Alabama. I'm gonna be going to, where am I going to? Ohio, yeah, I'm gonna be in Ohio on Tuesday. So I travel all across the world, and I've been really blessed because the schools that I've worked with, the teachers I've worked with, their scores just go through the roof because what I do is I talk about practical stuff that's practical. Because I'm a former teacher and also I'm a principal, so I'm gonna be telling you guys things that I know will work in your classroom, and then I'm gonna be telling you guys things that I know won't work, okay? Also during this PD, I want us to be very honest and open to one another. If you ask me anything, Mr. Hurt, do you have data walls? Mr. Hurt, how are your centers? Mr. Hurt, I have videos I'm gonna show you of a 3rd grade teacher with 25 kids in the classroom from the inner city. We're gonna see how that teacher flows during her math lesson and during her reading lesson, okay? So we're gonna be doing all these type of things so we can grow, okay? Just a couple of other housekeeping notes is that I want to capture a lot of the information, so I do have my video person here, and he's going to be capturing it because I like to see how I am. I always like to look at what I'm doing to see if I'm doing a good job, okay? So I know it's going to be Saturday. I know we're thinking about other things and stuff like that, but if I could just have you to 2 o'clock, I would appreciate that. Fourth is that if we could just put our laptop or Chromebook faces down, please, because we, and we'll be using them, but we want to make sure it's down, okay? Also, throughout the day, do I have any people that love social media? Who loves social media? Who likes to get on Facebook or Twitter? No, okay, we got one person? One person, okay. Okay, so this is what I need, okay, seriously. And this is what I do. I need for you two to be able to, throughout the day, take pictures, but also I want you to post how you guys will be, how you're doing a good job doing this PD on your social media, okay? Okay, just do it throughout the day, just say, oh, we're learning about math and stuff like that, because I want the world to know about greatness, okay? I believe in speaking greatness into existence, okay? And then, like I said, well, how was I able to be able to move my academic needle, okay? Because we were always speaking greatness into existence, okay? So if you two guys could do that for me, I appreciate that, all right? Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, and this is my information right here, my website, Twitter, Facebook page. And this will be the agenda. Okay, so the first thing is this. Why do we need high-performing schools? Let's just look at the data, okay? 40% of children living in poverty aren't prepared for primary schooling. Do you guys agree with that? Yes, thumbs up for that. Okay, come on. Kindergarten teachers, do you guys agree with that? 1st grade teachers, yes? Talk to me, okay. Okay, the second piece of data. Studies I found out by the age of 4, children in upper and middle and upper class families hear 30 million more words than children in families on welfare. We know as educators is that the more vocabulary you hear at a young age, the better you are, right? Next thing, by the end of fourth grade teachers, raise your hand. Come on, fourth grade, come on, all right. U of M, okay, woohoo. African American, Hispanic, and low income schools are already 2 years behind grade level. By the time they reach the 12th grade, they are already 4 years behind. Do you see that inside of your classroom? Absolutely. Okay. Last thing, more than 30 million children are growing up in poverty. In one low income community, there were only one book for 300 children. So imagine you have 300 kids in front of you. Imagine your school. How many students do you have at the school, Dr. Powell?
336.
So imagine all of the kids in the gym or the lunchroom, and there's only one book for those kids. So coming in on Saturday, I really admire you guys because you guys wouldn't get out the bed to come in on Saturday if you was not passionate about what you're doing. And like Dr. Powell said, we know that teachers, educators, we don't make $1 million like basketball players. We know we probably spend half our check inside of our classroom. I will put anything that you probably spent a lot of your money inside your classroom, decorated with covers and things of that, and then I get it. I get it. But that's why we need to make sure that we are able to move this academic needle because these kids need it. These kids need it. Okay? So let me show you their reality, okay? Remember, we're going to have courageous conversations, okay? We're going to just deal with stuff. A lot of your kids come from houses like this. Raise your hand if you would like to live in a house like this. Anybody? Come on, this is so, look at this yellow brick and stuff like that. What about this house? One thing they need is a new window, a door. These are the houses, remember I'm a principal, okay, I'm currently a principal. These are the houses that my kids come from every morning. And these are the houses, because I'm driving here, these are the houses that your kids come from. This is reality. There's no libraries on this street. There's no YMCAs. There's no, grocery, there's none of those things. And this is exactly where my kids come from. So one thing I tell my teachers, which is K through 5th grade teachers, I say, how can we set up our classrooms to deal with the needs of these kids? Before we talk about moving the data and map and stuff like that, how can we set up our classrooms to make sure our classrooms is conducive for the kids that's coming into our classrooms, okay? And one thing that I always say, because like I said, I've been doing this for 18 years, it doesn't make a difference if you're black or white, male or female. If you love those kids, they will respect you. Do you guys agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So then, let me ask a question. If we're going to talk to our elbow partner, they're going to meet right here. Look at me. That's when I was like 20 pounds lighter, So this is when I was in Muskegon Heights. Some of my students, they were 5th grade kids. Do you believe that children in poverty can achieve the same educational goals as children who are not in poverty? So I want us to talk to our elbow partner for 2 or 3 minutes, okay? And then we're going to report out. So I need everyone to talk to somebody. And we got to find somebody. Well, then since you have your hand up, I'm going to pick on you. You're going to be number 1. I need number 2. Is there a number 2 that's going to be able to discuss? Don't get shy on me. Come on, don't get shy on me. Number 2?
Sure.
Let's go number 2, good job. And I need a number 3. Okay, no, we'll go 3, 4. Go ahead. Number 1, go ahead. Tell me what you and your elbow partner talk about.
I stated that in my classroom now, I look at my class as a baseball court.
Baseball court, go ahead.
I mean,
Basketball court.
Baseball field.
No, come on, we're good.
She's
Baseball boom, basketball boom. I got you.
I thought about the 3 tiers
Okay.
that we have here, and it's either first base, second base, or third base.
Okay.
And the first thing, as you said, you have to get them to respect you because that is the way you build in the love.
Mm.
And so many of them are still on first base.
Gotcha.
But with what we put into them as a team,
Mm.
we can move them to second base.
Mm-hmm.
And then after second base, we want to get all of them into third base.
Mhm.
And that way they can move and grow.
Okay, good job. I like that. Number 2?
We talked about a couple of things.
We were thinking about, like you said, about coming to the classroom and how it's different than home.
Mm.
And then a lot of the children at home are running the house, so it's hard to get used to, can I go to the bathroom? Because they're telling everyone, get up, get dressed, eat dinner, do what you need to
Yeah.
do. So that power struggle and just kind of that balance that you respect each other.
Yeah.
And then the second thing we talked about was too, like, I'm ESL, so from my perspective, and vocabulary, whether they speak English or not, there's a deficit.
Yes.
And that when we have these programs, and when we're doing these small programs, that they're really intentional and really focused, so they're getting the vocabulary, so when they're in class, they can participate.
Okay. So let me talk about two things that you made a good point. And this is this reality. Kids come out of situations like that, so there's limited structure and things of that nature. We understand that, right? That's not rocket science. We understand that, right? Okay. But what happens is that when they come from dysfunction, and if they come into a classroom and it's dysfunctional, then there's not a shift in their mind. Does that make sense? So then a lot of times teachers struggle, and then I have to talk to my teachers, and I tell teachers across the world, if you know that they're coming from dysfunction, they have to, your classroom has to be totally different. You understand? It's just like when I was a kid, and then I would eat at one restaurant, say McDonald's, and then I would act one way, but when my mother took me to a nice restaurant, when they had silverware and salad bowl, my whole mindset changed. It's the same thing. It's the same thing I told one of my third grade teachers. She's a first year teacher doing an excellent job. MAP scores looking good. And I asked her, I said, what is it that you can reach these 25 kids that's come from poverty? What is the one thing? And then I said, look around at your classroom and look outside. What you see outside is different than what your classroom looks like. So now they have to change their mind, okay? And then you made another a point about the teacher. One thing I always tell people, I said the teacher is the #1 determinant on if that kid will be successful or not. Okay? #1 determinant. Why do you say that, Mr. Hurt? The kid is going to be with you and you more time than they'll be with anybody else. We're in school at a Michigan 182, 183 days. They're with you for 8 hours. Some of them 10 in the after school program, you know. Some of them 11 because they come in early. So just think, they're with you 11 hours a day, 8, at least the bare minimum 8 hours. And then also they're with you 5 days out the week. So they're spending 40 hours with you intimately. Okay? When they go home, they're probably spending 25 to 30 minutes with their family. How was school? How's everything? Go in your room and do your homework. After you're done with your homework, dinner's going to be ready. And then you go play the game. Am I correct with that? Mm-hmm. So then for that 10 months, you have more impact on that kid's life, especially at the elementary, because they're still sponges. Now, as they get older, it's kind of harder because they got life issues, you know. But at the elementary, even though that they've seen their father go to jail, even though mom's working 2 jobs, they've probably seen a couple of deaths in their lives. Even though that they've probably seen the drug dealer up and down. These are really practical stuff. You still have more influence, okay? Number 3, go ahead.
We both, we just talked about, as a teacher, they feel love and support and they will thrive no matter where they're coming from, for the most part. If they're comfortable and have reassurance and, like you said, they're kind of like a sponge.
Could you tell me can you define what love and support looks like from a teacher standpoint in the classroom? What does that look like? No, just this stuff. No, she said, see, like I got the same kids now, so no, tell me.
No, I have a pretty big classroom, but it's just to know that when they walk in, you're still there, and no matter being angry or not, you're still, a hug or a kind word away from where they just came from.
Okay. I'm gonna open this thing up because before we can get into the data, we gotta really tackle this, okay? And it's pretty much, do you really like the kids that's in front of you? So I'm gonna open it up. What else did you guys talk about with this question? What about over here? Let me hear what you guys. Just kind of be honest. I mean, sure.
It doesn't matter the background they come from, they can learn. If you're
Gotcha.
gonna give them love and support and nurturing and provide them an academic background, then they can learn. You may have to find different ways to teach every child, but every child can learn.
So then what is your name again?
Look how-
Ms. McCowsey made a good point. I always say this. and this is the reality of it. Are you either teaching math or are you teaching Matthew? There's the two different things. Okay, let me repeat that. Are you teaching math or are you teaching Matthew?
What was the second word you said?
Math or Matthew?
Oh.
Okay. So if you're a teacher and you're teaching math, you want Matthew to fit into this. So consequently, there's no relationship being built. Your classroom is set up the way that they told you to set up in college.
Yeah.
Okay, which doesn't work. Remember, I've been doing this too long now. I go across the world and then I do training. That doesn't work. So consequently, there's a disconnect. But the superstar teachers understand that if I teach Matthew, look at me if I teach Matthew, if I understand what Matthew's needs inside of that classroom, then Matthew will understand math. But a lot of times we teach math, we're good with our content, there's nothing wrong with content, but we fail when it comes to personal relationships with that kid. Okay, go ahead.
So I have something to share. So
Go ahead, let's share.
I had a student that came to my class on Tuesday before Halloween. I've been teaching 20 years in this district.
Gotcha.
And he, the first day, goes to the bathroom and is doing cartwheels, and I send him with a buddy to come
Yeah.
back. And I called a parent on the first day. I've never called a parent in 20 years on the first day. I said, this is what your son's doing. This is not what I expect him to do here. He could get hurt in the bathroom.
Gotcha.
I'm telling you right now, Mr. Teacher, I won't deal with this. He said, we left the last school because his teacher was picking on him. I said, I won't pick on your son, but I will tell him what I expect from
Yeah.
him, and he's gonna follow my rules, or we're gonna have a problem.
Yeah.
So get through that day, then the next day's Halloween, and he's just pushing my buttons and everything.
Yeah.
I think he's finding his little way in
Yeah,
my
yeah,
world
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Then Thursday comes around, I'm texting Dad, I said, this is easy for me, back and forth, we can text, I'm letting you know what you can do, he
Yeah.
didn't do his work today, I'm sending it home, you need to send it back. Then I called Dad and I said, what's going on? Dad's homeless, Grandma's living, he's living with Grandma, Dad's trying to find a house.
Hold on, go. Dad's homeless, go ahead.
Yeah,
What's the second one?
he's living with Grandma.
Living with grandma, go ahead.
And the boy has been
Yep.
disheveled, obviously, going
Yep.
to one school, new
Yep.
school, so he's got all these outside problems.
Yep.
I said, okay, thank you. I said, this helps me so much because now I can deal with him where he's at and then know that these little things that he's doing is his
Love it.
whole world is crazy.
Yeah.
So yesterday I had such a good day with
Yeah.
him. So I called Dad up, I sent him a text, I said, you know, it's gonna be challenging, you guys are dealing with, you're doing outside of school,
Yeah.
he's doing what he's doing outside of school, I have to deal with him here. But if we know, and that's what I told the dad, by you telling me what's going on, I let my guard down because I know where he's coming from and what he is trying to deal with so that I can, you know, tiptoe around certain things a different way and treat him differently than what I expect because I know he's having a hard time. And that's why we need to have these connections with the parents. And if you
Yeah.
have a good connection with the parent, then you can meet a kid and be on the same page. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
hopefully this kid will be great because I
Yeah.
was so upset
Yeah.
on the first day.
I don't think it's a hopefully. See, you building a connection, so you understand why. Now we're not going to accept the behavior that's negative,
Right, yes.
but now you understand why he's acting that way, and then now you can correct it. And now there's a different type of mental model with that. It's funny because I always tell the story when I first dated my wife, right? You know, oh man, she was just gorgeous, right? I just said, my God. So my mental model was this, you know. I said, know what? In the past, when I would always date, you know, girls to impress them, I would either buy roses or have stuffed animals, right? That's what I thought. So like the first month of dating my wife, I would always like every 3 weeks have a big stuff, sort of like that. We see it right there.
Yeah.
A big old stuffed animal. Cost me about $60, you know, those things. So then after about the fourth time, I asked her, I said, why is it that these stuffed animals that I bought you, they're like in a corner in your house, and it's kind of making me feel bad, like, you know, because I'm spending all this money on these stuffed animals, like why? And then she said, well, pretty much I really don't like stuffed animals. I said, oh, thank you for telling me after, you know, coming on all this money. You know, she said that pretty much I don't like stuffed animals. What I really like is this. I really like to eat, because she likes dessert. I really like to have homemade cookies and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, I got to get her some cookies. But in my mind, like, man, stuffed animals, $60, cookies, $5. I could have been saving a lot of money, you know. But it was the relationship, you know, I didn't know. I just did not know. So consequently, now when I was dating her, now we're married now, I was bringing cookies, maybe it's the cookies I did. You know, maybe I was listening. But no, I had to listen to her to have a better understanding of how to build that relationship. So that is very important. Like I said, do you teach Matthew or do you teach math? See, what you're saying is that you're telling me, Mr. Hearn, I'm teaching Matthew. So consequently, I can get to math. Okay? All right. I will keep it open. Anybody else want to kind of talk?
But the district needs to realize on the same point that we need to make connections with these kids before we throw all this instruction down their throats.
I understand
They
that.
can't learn unless we.
Yeah, I do.
They need that.
I do understand that. So I want to pass an article around, hopefully. And then what I would like for us to do, I would like this to go around and count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and remember your number. Okay, so let's start over here.
1, 2, 3,
1,
3, 1,
2,
1, 2, 3.
Okay. This is, can I have all the ones stand up, please? And make sure you take your article, all the ones stand up. Can we go over to this area? All right. Why everyone look so solemn? Come on now, smile. Okay. Is that, I got you. Can I have all the twos stand up, please? Twos, okay. Can we, let's go over there. Let's go over there. Let's go over there in that corner. And can I have all of the threes to stand up? And we can go over there. Okay. So before I give the instructions, this is something that I tell my teachers, something that I did when I was a teacher. This is called to get everyone's voice inside of the classroom. Because everybody in here is a teacher and we have different kids in our classroom. We have some kids that are very, very loud and outgoing, so they'll be able to answer all the questions. You have some kids that are quiet, but they know the information, but they're kind of scared to share, okay? So this is called to put everyone's voice in the classroom where everybody in your group will talk for 1 minute regarding what the article meant to them, okay? For 1 minute, all right? I need someone to be a timekeeper inside of the group. So choose one person to be the timekeeper. So whoever, go ahead, take 10 seconds to choose person to be timekeeper. Okay. Okay. So we have the timekeeper over there?
Yes.
Over there, okay. And also the timekeeper will also be the person in charge of the group. Okay. So you gotta put your feet down. Now, yeah, you gotta crack the whip.
All right.
Now, this is the thing. As each person is talking, there should be no one else talking within the group. So if a person is saying something and they're like, oh my God, that feels good, you cannot interrupt, okay? And then the person who is the timekeeper must keep everybody on task. You have to let them know when there's 10 seconds left to go so they can wrap it up. And then we go to the next person, okay? All right, and then after everybody is done speaking, it'll be 1 or 2 people, or you could do it as a group, you're gonna summarize the thoughts of what everybody was saying, okay? All right? Any questions for me? Timekeepers, we're all ready? We're all set. Okay, let's begin. Well, we're gonna stay right here, we're gonna stay right here, okay? And which group would like to be first? To report out. Okay, she said report first to do what? Okay, so let's go this group, and we're going to give each group 1 minute, okay? Because we want to be respectful of time. Because like I heard that you told me lunch is at 11:30, so I don't want to go past that. And like how we're in class, like you have a schedule on your lesson plan to make sure reading is this type of math. I have a schedule. So during my lesson plan, we have to take 1 minute for each group to do this. So go ahead, this group.
Okay, we talked about holding kids to a high standard no matter what, they're in charge of their destiny kind of a thing, and that mediocre isn't gonna cut it. You might excel in different ways, but you still have to give your best, and as teachers, we need to push them to give us their best.
Okay. Anything else?
Those are the expectations.
Okay.
If you
Good.
expect little, you get little. If you expect a lot, hopefully they'll achieve that.
Good job. Anybody else over there? Okay, let's give them a round of applause. Good job. Come on now, good job. Come on, give me some excitement. Give me some excitement. All right. Let's see if you're gonna top this group. I want to see what this group's gonna say. Come on, y'all gotta bring it. They did. I like the expectation.
Bring it on.
Yeah, bring it on. Go ahead.
Okay, so we talked about how when I read this, I thought of the students in my classroom who are quiet and do their work, and I don't have to worry about them with behavior and things like that. Like, greatness isn't achieved when they just get by. They're just sliding on by and it seems okay, because for me, I have 35 students in my classroom. So the kids that I don't have to yell at for their behavior, or I'm not focused on all the time, you don't always, they slip through the cracks sometimes. They don't reach what they're really for, because there's
Yeah. Anybody else want to add to that? You still got 15 more seconds.
I reached out in my mind to the title, pretty good, and that's what we think about students, that they're pretty good, but we want them to be more. And I also highlighted a paragraph that says the pretty good student was happy with the standards that were in effect, and nobody thought it was sappy if his answers were not correct.
Oh.
They just thought he was pretty good.
Wow, that's neat. No one corrected it. No one corrected it. And then as he got older, he had these deficits. That's cute. Let's give this group another round of applause. Good job. All right, you guys gotta bring us home now, okay? You know, hold on, earlier we talked about baseball, first base, second base. Come on now, you guys gotta get the whole run. No, not a trip we get, you guys gotta knock it out. Go ahead, this group.
Okay, well, my biggest takeaway, I guess, came from me, not being braggadocious or anything, but anyways, I believe in retention. A lot of people don't believe in retention, but if a kid is not ready to go on to the next grade, they should not go on to the next grade. So I retained 2 kids this year in my own class, and I keep my retentions back with me. And then I have one from another teacher last year who we retained, so I have 3 retentions. Those kids have made so much growth in the 43 days that they have been in my classroom, because they were not ready for 4th grade. They needed another year in 3rd grade, and they are shining stars, and they are leaders, and they are so proud of themselves because of the achievement gains that they're making. Just because they're boys and their parents probably started them because they needed to go to work, so they pushed them into kindergarten when they really should have just kept them back in preschool 1 more year. And I don't know, I just try to explain to parents that it's not gonna crush their self-esteem, that this is being done for a reason, because they're not ready, and if I were to put them into the next grade, then they would have just kept on falling farther and farther behind, and
Pretty good wasn't enough.
yeah, so I just, I did, and they know, and the kids know that I kept back. I said, honey, I'm not doing this to penalize you, I'm doing this to help you, because I need to know that you're ready to go on to the next grade.
Okay, we got about 20 more seconds. Anybody want to add to that?
No, we were just saying that 2 of them are ELL kids, and sometimes, it's just languages, but sometimes they need that time for it just to get in, and the trauma. When they're coming to this country, they're in interim camps. They haven't really been through school the whole time, or just that idea, is my mom gonna be home, she's got a tether on? Are they gonna come and get her? So just, now he's settled, they have that other year, and they're flying, it's amazing.
See, and I just want to park my car right there, because a lot of teachers will say, I will retain Raheem or Johnny or whatever, and we'll push them, we'll take them to the other classroom. I don't want to deal with that. I just, but for you to say, I want to retain them, but they're going to still be with me, because I know, once again, as I say, the teacher is the #1 determinant. If they're with me for another year, I know I can move. See, yeah. So I'm gonna open this thing back up. Does anybody want to add anything to this? Go ahead.
Add to what you just said.
Go ahead.
You stated about retainment, after retainment. While they're going through that retainment of being held back, they will eventually understand what the teacher is trying to do for them. They will also see that the teacher cares. But during that process, we have to remember, we have to redirect them continuously in intervention. If you see it coming, step right in, and you won't have to continue to call in the principal or bring in the social worker. You can do it. You have all that power in your hand, and all the principal have to do is come in and see what you're doing. She can, or he can just walk on out. But intervention and redirecting is very important. We can't let them go.
Exactly. And it goes back to that passion. Are you, see, once again, and I stay on this, do you teach Matthew or do you teach math? See, people who want to teach Matthew understand what is best for that kid. What is best? What is really best? Or even to put it in layman's terms, if that was my son or daughter right there, what would I want for that kid? When you close your eyes, if that's my daughter right there, what would I want? Yeah, yeah. So that adds a whole different dynamics to that. So let's go 1 or 2. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I'll be fast.
No, you don't got to be fast. We got
And
time.
sometimes this prevents kids going to special ed because they're not, if you keep pushing them along, they're gonna keep falling behind, and they usually want 2 years, of the deficit before they get tested for special ed. And they possibly would have went down that path, but because I retain them, I could possibly be keeping them out of special ed, but it also tells me if there is a learning disability or just
Yeah.
youngness in them and they just need another year's growth.
See, this conversation is so rich. What school? Now let's pause. What school in the United States is 10 o'clock on a Saturday? Who? Not seriously. Like, what school is up at 10 o'clock on a Saturday having these type of conversations? Thank you. So then now let's go from the kid to the teacher to the school. How do we take this school from good to great? These type of conversations. These type of conversations. And let's even make personal. What other elementary school in Pontiac is up at this time doing this? Thank you. So now you guys on a head start within these other schools. You understand? Go ahead, right there.
The pretty good happened with my daughter. She went to kindergarten here, was doing great. I moved her to Rollo because that's where I live. And in the 2 years, I started noticing there were deficits. And they were doing like a primary unit thing, but they were just leaving her in one group. So I'm like, wait a minute, she's falling way behind. I brought her back for 3rd grade because I think sometimes we feel like, I know I say I work in Pontiac, they're like, oh,
Yeah.
they keep walking. And I'm like, we have such great teachers and our children have so much potential. And now she's back and she's still in Pontiac schools and she's at ITA and she's getting all A's in her honors programs. And my son's there too, and he went from preschool up, he's like 2 grades ahead. And it's like, it's not the name of the city, it's not how much money you make, it's who you're working with and how they feel about the kids.
Yeah, really. Anybody else?
I think this area, I'm from Detroit, actually I was born in Louisville, Kentucky. I had a hard time in school, and I think that's why I became a teacher, because my mom was a teacher. But I would say this to Pontiac, they need to move up to that high self-esteem. The self-esteem is very low, and it's here. As long as we allow it to stay here, the grades will be low, the reading will be low, we're gonna pull up. And that's why I'm here, to help. I came back because I became bored. I went out before because I had cancer. I'm back now, and I didn't go back to DPS, and something did go down with that, and I will share with Dr. Powell later on. They want me to come back. So I'm gonna do what I can do here at Whitman until I see a change. We can do it. We work together as a team, we pull together, and we're not talking about each other. I haven't heard anything. So I like it here. I love it here. I love my principal.
Yeah.
I just met her. So that's very important. Your attitude when you come in here, you just gotta leave it in your car. I do. I got 2 ladies standing here right now know what I'm going through. I don't come in here with an attitude. I might be mad at the traffic sometimes, but I'm here. I'm here this morning for a lot of reasons. It's not just for me, but it's for my students.
Gotcha.
I'm in a special ed classroom, and it's not just 114. I come out and scoop them back where they came from.
Yeah.
So
And then-
we got to work together.
Well, that goes back to the climate and culture. You know, just like you said. You know, how are you guys working together as a team? If you guys work together as a team, then you can move the academic needle tremendously. You know, just think about it like this. If I had a big table in the middle of this room, and then I just said, this group help me lift this table, we might lift it up a little bit. We might lift it up to my waist. But if I brought you guys over, we could lift it up over my head. You understand? Because it's teamwork, you know. And a lot of times schools, the academics don't work because it's dysfunction among the adults. You guys know that because you guys been at other school districts. So if it's dysfunction among the adults, then the kids see it. They're not naive. Oh, Miss So-and-so don't really like Mr. So-and-so. They see it. They know it. They feel it. It's just like at home when the kid is at home. Well, my mom don't really like my dad. Well, how do you know? Well, every time he comes home, he's always screaming and yelling. The same thing here. Well, yeah, my teacher don't like the other teacher because they never even say hi inside of the hallway while they're passing. Okay? So then that's the biggest thing. If you really want this to work, and I know it's Pontiac School District, but this is Whitman Elementary. This is your school. You create the climate and culture. Now, as a principal in Mesquite Heights, we have many elementary schools. But I said, by all means, I'm the principal. We're going to move this needle. I don't care what it takes because these kids need it, and we moved it. Okay? Yeah. Anybody else want to say anything? Give yourself a round of applause. You guys did a good job. All right. So let's go back to our seats. African American kids or Latino kids from the inner city movement is very important. Okay. They have to move, and I'm gonna show you a video. They have to move. Okay. Also, having good talk in the classroom is good. Kids gonna talk anyway, right? So why don't you structure the talking where they can talk and learn from one another? Because research says that kids learn more from their colleagues than they do from the teacher. So you see how I structured it where we sat. You heard me talk for about 5 or 10 minutes, right? I gave an article. We read quiet because I had said we're gonna be at a zero for noise in this room, and then we shared with our elbow partner. So I saw some people like, oh, my feet hurt and I'm getting kind of tired, so let's stand up and let's move. Okay? And then if you saw me, I turned from a teacher. Look, I was a teacher, right? I was teaching, and then I became the facilitator of the education that was taking place. So I facilitated it. Okay? Some of us have 20, 25 kids in the classroom, 30. So now you have groups of 5 or 6 in your classroom. You walk around, you facilitate it, have them talk, have them share, and then we sit down. Okay? Just as because as an instructor, I also put my teacher's hat on. Any questions? Any questions? Thumbs up if you guys have been enjoying yourself so far. Thumbs up. You sure? You guys not saying that because I'm here, are you? Is this been good? Okay. Okay. Please tell me the truth. Please, seriously, please tell me the truth. Because what'd you say?
I like going to in-services. They all probably free.
Yeah. Because now I was talking to the lady. What is your name again?
Yep.
What is
Miss Cook.
Miss Cook. I was telling Miss Cook, I said, as a teacher, when I would go to the professional developments or in-services, I will always sit in those seats right there, and I would say, okay, is this going to really help me out in the classroom, or is it just something just to pass my time? So I'm always a big component of, I really want to bring something that's going to help us out, okay? So we're going to go for another hour into lunchtime, okay? Now this is the part that I really want us to focus on and really have understanding, okay? We're going to now dive into our data, all right? Any teacher or school that is very successful, they use data to drive their instruction, okay? Sometimes we can have data overload, which is so much data we don't know what to pick. Or sometimes we can have no data and we just do what we think is best, okay? The other thing is this. Remember this, when you know better, you do better, okay? When you know better, you do better, all right? Sometimes as educators, we work hard. We're working hard, right? We're waking up early and we're doing lesson plans, but we're not working smarter, okay? So think about it like this. If I'm trying to lose weight, okay, a lot of times we'll go to the gym and just do a whole bunch of exercises and it's not accomplishing our goal. But if we know that if we're trying to lose weight and if I could get on a treadmill for 30 minutes and then go to elliptical, I will lose more weight than just doing dumbbell curls or whatever it may be, okay? As I was looking at your data, because I have it right here, and I was looking at your MAP data from the beginning of the year and your M-STEP data from last year, I actually was looking at it, and then I actually came up to the school, I think 3 or 4 weeks ago, to kind of get a survey of the school. I said, man, this school is working hard, but if they just focus in on some areas, they would even work more smarter. Do you guys agree with that? Okay. So, the first thing that we're gonna do is we need to know where we're at, okay? All right, we have to know where we're at. Any good person deals with where we're at, all right? And I always talk about losing weight because one day I'm gonna get to where I have to go to. Like now, a lot of times when you're working out, you have to get on the scale and say, this is where I'm at, okay? You might have to close your eyes and have somebody else write it down, but you have to get on the scale and say, this is where I'm at, because if you wanna lose 35 pounds, you need to know where you're gonna start at, okay? Same thing in education. Working with schools all over the world, you must know exactly where you're at. Good, bad, or different, this is where we're at. Okay, we gotta deal with the elephant in the room, okay? So the first thing that we're gonna do is that we're going to look at our M-STEP scores from last year, okay? All right, this is not saying anybody's good or bad or different. I've just met you guys today, so I don't have any preconceived knowledge, but we're gonna look at our scores from last year, okay? All right? Okay. So this is called proficiency, okay? So this is 3rd grade, ELA, 10% of the kids from last year were proficient. Math, 11%. 4th grade, ELA, 6%. And if you guys want to take pictures, you can. It's, you know, take pictures or whatever. Math, 10%. 5th grade proficiency, ELA, was 15%, math, 9%. And did you guys have a 6th grade last year?
Yes.
Okay. And last year, ELA 12%, and math 14%. Okay? I'm gonna take 30 seconds, don't talk to your neighbor, just look at the data and just reflect.